First, Bloomberg.
You're watching Market Makers. Tesla is shaking things up again, but instead of disrupting the car business, CEO Elon Musk wants to upend the entire auto industry. How? By directly selling Tesla's electric luxury cars to consumers, bypassing franchised automobile dealers. And as you might imagine, the dealers are not happy. Bloomberg News' Jamie Butters is with us from Detroit. Also with us, Andrea James, Senior Research Analyst at Dougherty & Company, with us from Seattle. And right here in New York, in the Loop anchor, Betty Liu, who spent lots of time with Elon Musk. Jamie, let's start with you. Tell us exactly what Elon Musk is trying to do and what threat it might pose to the whole dealership industry.
Sure. Hi, Eric. How you doing? Elon Musk wants to control, everything. He's created the Tesla brand as kind of its own little infrastructure, and he wants you to go into his stores and buy his products directly from him, just like you would an Apple store, buy your iPhone at an Apple store. And that's not the way the car industry works in America. We have independent dealers who buy the vehicles from Ford, General Motors, Toyota, and so on, and sell them to the customers, and they don't want to have their business model cut out. So they're very defensive, very concerned that if Tesla gets the right to do this, that maybe Ford, GM, and the rest could follow suit.
Andrea, why do the dealers have so much power here in this relationship?
I think it goes back to years ago when the dealers were afraid that the large auto OEMs would come in and sell directly to consumers and then cut into their margins. And so they were sort of powerful people in town, and they'd go to the local legislature, their local lawmaker, and get laws on the books that protected them. And those protectionist laws still exist today.
Betty, I mentioned that you've spent lots of time with Elon Musk because you have some insights into his personality. He has not shrunk from just about any challenge that I know he's embraced. And does it appear to you as though he's as determined with this one as he was getting Tesla's cars on the road to begin with?
Well, I think he sees a really good opportunity because let's face it, guys, who really likes buying a car from a dealership? I mean, does anybody really enjoy going into a dealership and buying a car because you know that you feel like you're being swindled, right? You're paying extra fees, you're paying taxes, you don't know where your money exactly is going. So he kind of feels like there's this opportunity here to break up this business model. And so that's why, in some ways, you are seeing these dealerships fight back in various states. We talked about Texas, North Carolina, and others, and why the dealerships are running a little bit.
So, Andrea, is his plan going to work?
I think it will. Tesla is able to sell directly in most of the states that it wants to. One of the most restrictive states in the nation is Texas, and yet Tesla's still able to sell hundreds of cars there. And then also, this isn't really a problem internationally, so it's a huge opportunity to change the way we buy cars in America.
Jamie, back to you for a second. Put yourself in the shoes of Alan Mulally, for example. Would Ford want to sell directly to car buyers? And if it does, why? What advantages does, I presume that there's some additional margin to harvest there, but there's a lot of fixed costs associated with running dealerships and inventory that you may end up getting stuck with that car manufacturers that have been able now and then to stick the dealers with.
Yeah, that's right. I think Ford has avoided commenting on Tesla's battles in courts or in state legislatures, but it's a complicated situation for them. Ford, a couple leaders ago under Jack Nasser, tried to create some ways to sell vehicles directly to consumers, and there are some advantages there in being able to control the messaging, control how the vehicle is sold and presented. But they have these contracts that they're stuck with, and there's almost no way to imagine getting out of that. And as you've said, they have some benefits. The dealers are important people in the community. They advertise a lot. They try to generate a lot of goodwill. They handle the warranty work and the service work that would really create a whole management apparatus and another layer of expense that the automakers haven't had to control.
I would just add that it does create for some really strange situations. And to Andrea's point, I understand right now we're only talking about a goal of 20,000, 21,000 vehicles for Elon. So yes, there aren't a lot, when you break it all down, there aren't a lot of cars being sold in each state. However, it creates for some really odd situations where in Texas, for instance, there are no price tags on these Teslas. You can't even quote a price on any of these Model S's. You have to actually go online then and then buy it from California. If you're in North Carolina, what the legislators are proposing, or the dealers are proposing, is that you can't even buy one online. You can't even go on your computer and buy online a Model S. It's that restrictive.
It's almost like unpasteurized milk.
And it's a strange situation, but Andrea...
It does make for odd situations.
Andrea, if he succeeds, if Elon Musk succeeds in creating its own retail network for Tesla, that has big implications for the auto industry and for others, probably, I would think, as well.
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, basically, if you look at what Apple did 10, 12 years ago, at that time, and it's hard to remember now, but at that time, the only way you could buy an Apple product was if you went into a big box retail store like a Best Buy or, remember, CompUSA. But now it's totally normal to buy, say, a technology product from a mall or a retail store. But at the time, that was just like this crazy way to sell technology, but now it's just the way things are done. And Tesla's trying to do the same thing, and they actually hired George Blankenship from Apple to help pioneer this retail store strategy.
Andrea, good to have you on the show. Great conversation. Andrea James from Dougherty and Company. Jamie Butters from our bureau in Detroit, and of course right here in the Loop anchor, Betty Lou.
We'll be speaking with Elon Musk and bringing us some more of his comments in an interview next week on Bloomberg Television. Coming up here on Market Makers, protests in Brazil are growing. 50,000 demonstrators hitting the streets last night, and the government's paying attention. We'll look at the stakes next on Market Makers.
In this fast-paced, digital everything life,